Today, we see democracy as one of the cornerstones of modern civilization. But where did it begin? Long before ballots and presidents, the seeds of democracy were planted in the ancient world. Let's explore the origins, functions, and fascinating facts behind ancient democracy, with a special focus on Athens, where it all began. The word democracy comes from ancient Greek demos, meaning people, and kratos, meaning power. So democracy literally means power of the people. The most famous early democracy arose in Athens around 508 BCE. This was a radical shift from monarchies and tyrannies where power belonged to kings or elites. In Athens, ordinary citizens could now participate in governing themselves. But hold on. Before we imagine ancient Athens as a modern democracy, there are some key differences. Only free Athenian men over 18 could vote or speak in the assembly. Women, slaves, and foreigners were excluded, meaning only about 10 to 20% of the population had a political voice. Still, for its time, Athenian democracy was revolutionary. It featured three main institutions: the ecclesia, or assembly, where citizens voted on laws; the boule, a council of 500 citizens who managed daily affairs; and the dikasteria, or courts, made up of citizen juries. Fun fact: public officials in Athens were often chosen by lottery, not election. Why? Because they believed elections favored the wealthy and powerful. This random selection gave average citizens a real chance to hold public office, even if just for a short time. Another unusual feature was ostracism. Once a year, citizens could vote to exile someone from Athens for 10 years if they thought that person posed a threat to the state.
Yes, democracy could vote you out of your own city.
But democracy wasn't universal across the ancient world. Most Greek city-states, like Sparta, used oligarchies or mixed systems. And outside Greece, empires like Rome eventually adopted republican models, where elected officials represented the people, at least in theory. Ancient democracy had its critics. Philosophers like Plato believed democracy was unstable, that it gave too much power to the uninformed masses and could lead to mob rule. He feared that people would choose charismatic leaders over wise ones. Sound familiar? Fun fact: even though Athens was a democracy, they often voted to go to war and even executed Socrates by popular vote. So yes, democracy had power, but it didn't always guarantee justice. By the end of the 4th century BCE, Athenian democracy declined after being conquered by Macedonia. But its legacy didn't end. Centuries later, the founding fathers of the United States and political thinkers across Europe looked back to Athens for inspiration. The ideas of citizen participation, checks and balances, and public debate were all rooted in this ancient experiment. So what can we learn from ancient democracy? It was flawed, limited, and exclusionary, but it was also bold, experimental, and ahead of its time. It showed that ordinary people could govern themselves, and that the power of the people, once unlocked, could change the world. Subscribe to Favio Fun Facts for more stories from the ancient past that still shape our present.